Welcome, Johanna, to WizeFactor Chat. I'm really glad to be sitting down here with you. You've recently joined the Wise Buzz, so I wanted to talk to you for a minute. And you know that we do the sessions to find the Wise Factor Gen. So I was really excited to talk to you and see what made you attracted in the first place and how do you feel like your development has been ever since you started. But I want to go from the beginning to talk about you and your business. What's the name of your business and when did it start?
It's called MarginKeepers, and I started it in 2017.
Great. And what was the reason that it started?
Well, I worked as an auditor at a big firm, but I had started to have children, and there's not a lot of flexibility. So I wanted to have my own firm where I would be able to still raise my kids and work to keep my career going.
Awesome. So when you started from Margin Keeper start in 2017 to now, which is 2024, which is when you started Ways Elite, what are the challenges that you're seeing now or that you saw a couple of months ago when you considered getting a coach or getting into coaching? Like, what are the challenges you're looking to solve?
Well, a lot of the challenges is that we're like most of the practices like mine are started by an accountant, but you haven't had to run a business, which is a whole other job on top of just being the accountant. And in the beginning, it was just me and a way for me to make money for my family. But as it grew into a business and I took on employees, there was a lot of new challenges that are difficult to address for someone who's never been in an employer position. And as you start to add more employees, you start to question, well, what am I supposed to monitor? What financial metrics are important to look at? What are the KPIs, right? There's not a lot of available data I find for accountants to rely on. Like you can't just Google, well, what's the percentage of this I should be spending or how much should I be paying staff, right? It's all very skewed because you don't know what method they're using, to account and things like that. So I really wanted to find some help guiding me and running the company. And I had heard about Wize on a Facebook group where somebody was saying it was a very worthwhile consulting. Somebody was asking for like if they knew any consultants, and they asked somebody said that Wize was very worthwhile for them. It was money well spent. So that's when I met with Jamie, and he seemed very knowledgeable. Like he knew all the points to address, and that's when I joined Wize.
That's awesome. So basically, in a nutshell, you were looking for a blueprint. You felt like you needed a guideline to know what to expect as a business owner, basically.
Yeah, and how to set up the business, I guess, correctly, like for later to be able to walk away from it, either sell it or leave it in hands of other employees later on down the line when I got closer to retirement.
And on that, so since you joined from now, what has had the biggest impact on you since joining Wise Elite? Because you're in the Wise Elite select group of firm owners, which is where you have a coaching, you have accountability, but you also have to do things on your own. So, what impact has that had on you since you joined?
I think the biggest impact has been learning about how to measure capacity. I didn't really have a method of doing that. It was just kind of ballpark, like I think this employee could handle this many clients. And there wasn't a real like science to it. And there they've taught how to very particularly calculate capacity, which has helped me a lot because then I could see each employee's listing and know if I could give them more or not. I can explain to them how I come to the capacity and them needing to discuss with me if they're going over, because then that might mean that we need to talk to the client about increasing the fee if there are certain things we didn't account for in the original estimates. So that's, I think, the biggest help. Also, just knowing what key metrics to monitor. There are things that I've learned there that a lot of the stuff I had been doing to somewhat of a degree, not as
Yeah.
consistently or as accurately, but some things I wasn't even looking at. And it's really helped to say, okay, well, these are the most important things I need to monitor at my firm, and this is the best way to calculate them.
That's awesome. Love to hear that. It was such a changer. And actually, many firms who joined recently, this is one of the things that they're most surprised about. Like the capacity planning is one of the key features that Wize has. And I think it's what most of the people I've talked with here at the Wize Factor have said that to me. Like that has had an impact on them as well. And I think it's key because it also goes hand in hand with profitability. So after you realize who's really at capacity and you can see some game players in your team that are really not, doing the things that you think that they're able to be doing. So that's also a game changer in that sense. I wanted to ask you, so you've been now implementing all of these things, and you are going from someone who didn't know how to manage to learning all of these things. So what would you say to that, Johanna, before maybe you were hesitant at some point, like what if this coaching doesn't work? Is an investment? Like what would you say now with all the things that you've seen, all the conversations you've had that I'm sure are very insightful? What would you say to that, Johanna, at that point? Like, how do you feel?
I let them know that, the earlier this started, the better, because the longer you wait, the more complicated it gets, the harder it will be to implement things that we learn that help the practice succeed. So I would tell them not to hesitate and to just go ahead and start doing it. I don't see that anybody wouldn't learn something from this type. There's just so many, and being in the elite group, you sit and you listen to other practice owners' struggles, and even though you might not be having that struggle, you might have it at one point, or maybe you had it, and you can also give your feedback to if you had a way to solve it. So I think it's the earlier you start to really manage your firm in a way to set it up to be this company that's separate from you and not relying on you, the better career that you'll have and the better work-life balance.
Mm, yeah, totally. And I think many firm owners can relate. And you said something earlier, and now you're repeating it about building a business that can run without you or slowly withdrawing from this business. Is that something you're looking after? Is that something you really want to achieve at some point in your business?
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone is going to want to get out at some point. I don't feel that it's not a pressing issue for me, but it's something that I have to think about now. So when the time comes, I'm ready and prepared, and I don't have to struggle when I'm older, more burnt out,
Yeah,
with more stuff
totally.
going on, to wrap it up in order to exit, right? We should all be thinking about an exit strategy because we all will have to exit.
Exactly. At some point, sooner or later. And in that sense, do you feel like you're more at this point focused on growth, on getting the firm in order, or of course, getting out? I think it's not getting out, but which are the first?
Yeah, getting it in order so that before I keep trying to grow, I want to implement the stuff I'm learning at Wise and make sure everything is really good, because I think that growth is easier if you're prepared versus growing and then reacting. And Wise, they teach us to think about the end, right? You prepare. It's better to be proactive than reactive.
That's awesome. And thank you for sharing. I wanted to add one last thing to our conversation is that I would love to see tangible results or anything that you would like to share that changed from when you started now in a couple of months. So this video will probably be on some of our platforms, and I will love to tag you and see you having a comment, like dropping a comment saying, "Hey, from that video, I've done this and this and this, and I've progressed on this." I would absolutely love that because I'm excited about your journey. I really talked to many, many firm owners, and the testimonial is basically similar. It's people looking to be better. And that's a beautiful process that I love to document. And when you see this video in a couple of months, you'll be like, wow, I've learned so much. So that's my last request.
Okay, yeah, definitely. I hope to see too the results.
Thank you so much, Joanna. Very happy to talk to you today to get to meet you. I would talk to you soon.
Okay, thanks. Nice to meet you, Claudia.
Bye.